Very good morning to all the students of class 10th. Children, we were doing this lesson, two stories about flying. Part 1, his first flight, Liam O'Flaherty. I will just give you a quick review what we had done in the last class. In the first part, his first flight, there is a bird, seagull, who is quite young, who is in deep fear of flying because it's his first time. He has a lovely family, father, mother, two brother, a sister, and they all live very happily. Now one day it's the time for him to fly, take up his first flight. Somehow what happens, his brother, his sister managed to fly, and even a brother was younger to him. He even flew up in the sky and managed to. But the young seagull could not gather the courage to fly in the sky. He was left alone at the ledge. He waited for his parents to come back to him, give him some food as he was really hungry, but his parents did not return. He kept on watching them from the ledge, enjoying food, having fun with each other, playing with each other. Despite everything, he could not muster up the courage to fly. He kept calling them plaintively, producing different kinds of sound so that they could see him, but everything went into vain. Now, at last, when his mother find that her child, a young seagull, is not gathering the courage, she had an idea. What she did is she flew across to him with a piece of fish. She went nearer, and then, when she was just opposite to him, she stopped moving. She halted and her wings became motionless. Now, moving on to page number 35. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted. What do you mean by halted? Halted means to stop moving or doing something. Her wings motionless. The piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. Now, when his mother came near to him, she knew that this is the best bait that she could ever give to her son. Though she came near to him, but she did not allow young seagull to have that food. She waited there. It was within the reach of his beak, but little away. But the young seagull, when looked at the fish, he became mad due to hunger. He was already hungry, and when he looked at the food so near to him, he became more mad. He wanted to dive, he wanted to catch that fish, and he finally dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. Then a monstrous terror seized him. Now, what happened when he dived at the fish, he found himself falling down. Monstrous terror means frightening appearance of a monster. Like when you see a monster, the terror fills you up. Similar kind of terror filled the young seagull when he uh, started to fall downwards into this space. His heart stood still, and he could hear nothing. He thought himself that he's kind of dying, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. Now the fear overcame him, but just for a minute. After a minute, he realized that his wings are spread outwards and he is actually moving his wings. He could feel that his wings are cutting through the air and he was flying. He was not falling headlong now. He was not falling down with the head downwards, but actually he could feel that his wings were cutting through the air. He was flying. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. Soaring means? It means to fly high in the air. He was flying. He was no longer afraid, though he felt a little bit uncomfortable because of which he was as he was flying for the first time. His head was spinning, and he was actually sometimes losing his balance also. But he managed to flow with the air. He was actually flying. He flapped his wings and he soared upwards. Ga 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 ko ah. When his family members saw him flying, they all started having merry, they started enjoying, they started the celebration that their brother, the siblings, they were enjoying just because their brother had finally took his first flight, had finally taken up his first flight, and his parents were equally happy. He answered her with another scream. His father flew over him, screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking, and soaring and diving. So, everybody joined the celebration. They were really happy because the whole family were all together finally. They were curveting, banking, soaring. This was the celebration that they had done during the young seagull's first flight. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commended himself to die and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. When he was when he was flying, he found himself near the sea. He was flying. He could see the ocean. He could see the vast green sea beneath him. He could see himself flying over it. He turned his beak sideways and he cawed amusedly. Amusedly means with amusement, with entertainment, and with entertained manner. So he was actually really enjoying his first flight. He was really, really, really happy. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning. Beckoning means to show somebody There is a word here, beckoning. Beckoning means to show somebody with the movement of your finger or hand that you want him or her to come closer. So, all his brothers, sisters, parents, they were beckoning to him, calling him. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger and he could not rise. Exhausted by this strange exercise. Now he screamed. He attempted to rise again because when he kept his leg on the sea, it started to sank into it. He again was in fear. He screamed with fright. He attempted to rise again by flapping his wings, but he was so tired and hungry that he could not rise. He was really exhausted by this strange exercise. And what do you mean by this strange exercise here? Strange exercise means the first flight that he took up for the first time in his life, which required a lot of movements through his wings, moving upwards, downwards, and then he fell in the middle of his flying also. So this made him exercise a lot. His this made him exercise of not only just his body parts but also his wings, his legs, and everything. Now he was floating on it. Around him, his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. He had made his first flight. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. Now, though he was very tired, he tried again not to sink into the river. He tried, and finally he could feel his belly touched it. He was floating on it, and around him, his family had surrounded him. All of them were really, really happy, and he finally made his first flight. So, students, this is the first part, his first flight, where a young seagull who is too afraid to take up his first flight, he who could not muster up the courage to take up his first flight, but it's the motivation given by the parents, especially mother, who tempted him through a fish. He managed to dive in and he tried and finally succeeded. He made mistakes, he fell down, but he came back again and with full hope he managed to take up his first flight. So, his first flight is a very, very interesting lesson where the message that is given, I will just write down the message that is given in the lesson is no one attains success instantly. Repeated trials and errors lead him to success. So, children, by the first part of the lesson, the message that we all get is that nobody attains success instantly. that you are thinking that you have worked really hard one day and you want success the next day. It is impossible. Repeated trials with the same hard work and with repeated errors will finally lead you to success. In the journey of success, you will find yourself to be surrounded with frustrations, to be surrounded with negativity. But who becomes successful? The person or the creator who actually overcomes the fear, learn from the mistakes, the same person reaches the heights of success. You may be surrounded with problems, you may be surrounded with fear, you may be surrounded with lot of hesitation, but finally, the trial and error method, the trial and error in your life will always take you towards the success. In this story, if a hesitant and timid seagull can learn the art of flying, then anybody in this world can do anything to overcome his fear. In the chapter, his fear and hesitation stopped him from doing so. But what proved a blessing in disguise? It's his diving at the fish proved a blessing in disguise. So, this is a beautiful chapter. Again, I'm repeating the message that nobody attains success in one day or 2 days. You require regular hard work, regular trials, surrounded with mistakes, but no matter what, you move on with a positive hope, with positive outlook, and overcome every problem, reaching the heights of success at last.